Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Insurance Untangled Live Expert Panel webinar. This empowering discussion is designed to help you navigate challenges, leverage opportunities, and build a thriving dental practice. Thank you for joining us, and a huge thanks to our panel of leading dental professionals for being here. Tonight, we'll be sharing actionable strategies, best practices, and valuable insights to tackle the unique challenges dental practice owners and teams face today. Let's also give a warm welcome to our experts, Samantha Jones, Jasmine Chavez, and Sarah Ruberg. It's truly great to have all of you with us tonight. Thank you for taking the time to share your wisdom and experience. Today, with our Thriving Dentist Expert panel, we'll be discussing a unique topic, that is women in dentistry, shaping the future of the industry. So this is a live event, so please engage with your peers and ask questions and share your reactions. We are confident you'll leave tonight with actionable strategies and you can implement right away. So together today, we'll dive into the unique leadership and communication and management strategies that are redefining success for women in dentistry and that no modern practice can afford to overlook. Whether you're a dentist, manager, or a team leader, you'll leave with actionable ideas and fresh perspectives. So, before we jump into tonight's discussion, let me ask you a quick question. When someone in your area Googles dentist near me, does your practice show up at the top or are they finding your competitors instead? A lot of dental practices never check where they rank online, and that can be a real missed opportunity. Even if you deliver outstanding care and if you're not visible when potential patients are searching, chances are they are choosing someone else. So the reality is almost everyone checks online before picking up a dentist. So if you're not showing up, you're losing new patients before you even get the chance to meet them. But here's the good news. With the right digital marketing strategy, especially focusing on Google SEO, you can boost your online presence, attract more high-value patients, and make sure every marketing dollar drives long-term profitable growth for your practice. We're going to talk about how you can get visible with more new patients, build a thriving practice. Stick around until the end of tonight's webinar, and we're going to share a special opportunity that could help you take your online presence to the next level. Now let's jump right in and let me introduce our panelists tonight. So first up, we have Samantha Jones. Samantha is a visionary dental business coach, international speaker, and founder of CreateWise movement. She empowers dental professionals to grow thriving practices by blending operational excellence, leadership development, and holistic wellness. Through her 90-day coaching program, team training, and wellness retreats, Samantha champions scaling with soul, combining systems, strategy, and mindful growth. Next up, we have Jasmine Chavez. Jasmine Chavez is a dental hygienist and the founder of Pearl House Dental Hygiene Studio, as well as the owner of the Dental Hygienist Dental Business Development, dedicated to transforming the field. Jasmine is setting out to do dental hygiene differently and is passionate about teaching others to do the same. And finally, we have Sarah Ruberg. Sarah Ruberg is the CEO of our Thrive Tribe, a marketing agency serving the dental industry with a background in dental hygiene and social media strategy. She helps DSOs and dental vendors grow through personal branding, strategy, content, and authentic engagement. Sarah is passionate about helping others find their voice online, especially on LinkedIn, and believes strong relationships are the foundation of any successful business. Her agency supports companies ready to show up with intention, build visibility, and connect with the right audience in the dental space. Wow. We have a great lineup tonight, and I'm truly appreciative of each of you taking your time to be here. On your screen, you'll see the main points for today's discussion. I'm confident we'll be able to deliver an amazing, insightful, and tangible takeaway webinar. We also have some great questions lined up, like I said, for the panelists, and we received as many questions from the audience as well. So we welcome questions from the audience as well. in the Q&A panel. So just so you know, the chat is open, and so if you like to pose a question, please feel free to put it in the chat. I will make every effort to make sure we get it answered within the time frame we have with this webinar. And I'll take care of that. And if you don't get any answers for some reason with what happens with time, we'll have one of our webinar managers reach back to our panelists, get an answer to your question, and they will directly respond with you with the answer. All right, let's jump right in. So all right, so the first question, Samantha, can you tell us about a pivotal moment in your leadership journey that reshaped the way you show up in dentistry today?
Oh, there's a lot of them. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here with this powerhouse group of women and yourself, Lester. One moment I think that stands out to me happened early in my coaching career. I was working with a practice that on paper should have been thriving. They had a great location, an experienced team, patients who showed up to their appointments. But behind the scenes, it was a tense place. Turnover was really high. The owner was carrying the emotional weight of the entire practice. And it kind of just felt like everyone was clocking in, clocking out, and trying to not get blamed for when things went wrong. It was a really, really reactive practice with what I like to call the hustle grind culture. So it was just stressful. You could feel it when you walked in there. So, me being young and new at the coaching space, I did what most of us do when we're trained to fix problems. I brought in tools, scheduling templates, accountability charts. I color coded everything I possibly could. I love color coding. And sure, some of those things helped, but the breakthrough moment wasn't a spreadsheet at all. It was actually during a team meeting when I paused in the stress and I asked everybody, what would help you feel seen and supported here? And the room got awkwardly quiet. I was kind of like, oh boy, what did I get myself into here? But I stayed strong in that awkward silence. And finally, someone spoke up and said, no one's ever asked us that question before. So it was kind of this light bulb moment for me. I realized that psychological safety was nowhere to be found in the practice. It wasn't a safe space for anybody to talk about what was really going on. Not even the owner really felt very safe to talk to the team. So that moment rewired me as a coach. I had some deep reflection after that moment. And I realized that leadership isn't about being the expert. It's about creating enough safety and a container for someone else's brilliance to rise, for people to feel seen and heard. So now when I coach and I approach a team, I activate deep listening skills and I resist the need to solve, which is really hard for me. I'm a problem solver by nature, so that's my work. And I try really hard to ask a lot of questions. Every team that I coach now hears that question very early on. I really believe that when people feel seen, they show up, not just for the job, but for the mission or the vision. And let's just kind of be real for a second. Dentistry right now is hard. There's a lot more going on in dentistry than there was 31 years ago when I started my career in dentistry. So if we're going to do hard things, we might as well do them together with heart and deep, deep understanding about what's really going on. And for me, it was like a huge relief that I didn't need to always be the one to come locked and loaded with a million solutions. I have those, but sometimes the real solution is simply just holding the space. And so that experience taught me that sustainable change doesn't come from quick fixes or external tools alone. It comes from within the team. It's the moments when someone finally feels safe enough to say, I'm overwhelmed, I have an idea, or I just need help. And that's when real leadership, I think, shows up, not just as a title, but as a practice. So, yeah.
Thank you, Samantha. Some great tips and really insightful.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Jasmine, how do you see dental trending in the next 5 years?
Well, not that I'm a little biased to this, but I think that there's going to be more independent dental hygiene practices. I think hygienists and dentists, I mean, it's a huge collaborative effort, and I hope that there will be more independence and hygienists saying, I can do this. And it works really well for the community and our patients and for dentists as a whole, the dental community as a whole. So I see a lot more autonomy within the scope of dental hygiene and hygienists really becoming big time providers, not that we aren't already, but stepping into a far more leadership role within dentistry and practicing on our own and taking care of communities. So that's my goal, my wish.
Right, right. Thank you, Jasmine. So, Sarah, moving on to you. So, what role has personal branding played in your leadership journey, and how can emerging leaders use it to create more influence and visibility in the dental industry?
I would say personal branding is literally what brought me to where I am today.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people probably could relate to this. I'd had a job for 6 years and my boss moved me around to a lot of different positions. And I was literally named the Swiss Army knife of the company. And I thought that was so cool. I was like, I'm so good at all of these different things. So awesome. And when I went to leave that company, I remember asking my dad, I said, what am I actually really good at? Like, what am I the best at? And I had a life coach at the time, and she said, you should ask people that are really important to you, what are you good at? And everybody said, or most people said, I'm really good at building relationships, which was hysterical to me because I thought, isn't everybody good at building relationships? The answer is no, not everybody is. And it set me off. I've always loved personal development, but it really helped me to look at myself and understand what does that mean to me. And so I believe the quality of our lives is determined by the quality of our relationships. And in order to have powerful, meaningful relationships, you have to be able to understand other people. But before you even think you can understand other people, you have to be able to understand yourself. And so, and being authentic. So I work with people day in and day out, identifying their personal brand and telling their stories through social media, which for dental practices, because there are so many dental practices. And when you put them all in a row, if you put, I don't know, 5 dental practices in a row that all offer the same services, the main thing that sets them apart is their people, the hygienist, front office, the clinicians. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize that. So in addition to attracting and retaining new patients, your team, you attract your don't what is it that the cool kids say, because I'm certainly not a cool kid anymore, like you attract your vibe, or like your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So if I love plants, so if there is a practice that is like, oh, we love plants, yeah, I'm totally going to that one because that's where I want to talk plants in between, because if a clinician is going to ask me anything while they're doing stuff in my mouth, I'd much rather it be about plants than the vacation that I like just went on. So it's super important for that, but also your team. I'm not perfect. I'm not super articulate all the time. I make mistakes. I think it's really important to be myself to my team, to the industry. And I think that people not only respect that, but they almost work, I don't want to say harder, but they value that. Like there's so much out there in the world that's kind of fake. Oh, Caitlin is here. She's so cute. Hi, Caitlin. Adorable. I love her. I think it's just really important to be authentic. It's something that I say all the time. And I know that my team appreciates it, especially when I'm like, hey guys, I messed up. I didn't do something right. And I think that makes it builds, like you said, Samantha, psychological safety, which is like something I'd never even heard until very recently. Like, and where has that been my whole life? And so that's something that's really important to my team, for me to build for my team.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. Really insightful. Back to you, Samantha. In your work, how do you help teams break through old patterns and create a more sustainable, healthy practice culture?
Well, first, I think culture is just the sum of your daily habits, right? Like there's a lot, culture is such a buzzword, right? And it's truly the sum of your daily habits. It's not the poster that's hung up on the break room wall or the mission statement that only one person from the practice can sort of recite. It's how we show up for each other, especially when things fall apart, or the scanner's down and someone just ate the last dang granola bar in the drawer labeled "Do not eat," right? So when I work with a team, I don't start with what's broken. I start with what's possible. I think, what would it look like to trust each other more, to actually enjoy being at work together, to hold each other accountable with clarity and kindness instead of avoidance or side eyes, right? So one of my favorite tools that I like to use, and I do get like some side eyes when I first introduce this sometimes, is I like to call it walkout wisdom. So at the end of each day, just someone sharing a reflection or something that they learned or appreciated, or a hilarious patient moment. And there's always at least one, right? It seems so simple, but it's those moments. It's culture changing. People start to see each other again through those moments. And gratitude becomes normalized. It's normal. And, I think that's important for us to normalize that in the workplace when we're thinking about culture. I also deeply believe in culture rituals. That word might scare people, but it's these tiny repeatable moments that actually foster connection in our day to day. So think like, a 2-minute Monday breath work circle. Like we're just going to take a pause. We're going to just breathe it out a little bit, get the nervous system regulated. A gratitude jar at the morning huddle where we just, shout out something cool about each other. A rotating snack fairy. That wasn't my idea. That was somebody else's that brings, joy in the form of trail mix and Swedish fish. Who wouldn't love that, right? It doesn't have to be elaborate is the point. It just has to be consistent. And I really think that there's this conditioned belief, this old way where burnout is a badge of honor, right? Like we think burnout is some badge of honor to wear and perfection is expected and kindness is optional. That's not sustainable. We're not robots. We're humans who happen to hold a mirror in one hand and a suction in the other, right, ladies? And I'm a dental business wellness coach, and I don't think that you should do one without the other, wellness and business. I think a healthy modern practice deserves both. It's something that you write once and you frame it. It's something you practice, right? That's culture. You don't write it once and you frame it. That's not it. It's a practice every single day, one little tiny moment at a time.
Thank you, Samantha. Some great actionable takeaways there. So Jasmine, how do you think insurance has affected the standards of preventive dental care?
Gosh, how much time do we have to answer? I'm like, dude, that would have to be for part B too. I just, in light of everything that's been going on in the dental industry these last couple of months, it's just, I feel that it's pitted everyone against each other, and it shouldn't be that way. I made a comment the other day, and it said they've made it to be it's us versus them, being like hygiene versus dentists and assistants, when really it should be us, dentistry as a whole, versus them being the insurance companies. They say, well, hygiene is wanting more pay per hour and dentists can't afford it. And it's like, well, because the insurances won't pay the proper fees. And so it's such a struggle because, and I think it's we've been so conditioned in dentistry that you have to take insurance in order for your practice to be successful. And that's just not it. If anything, we're confined to the insurance companies because we're only doing what the insurance will allow. Right. I had a client once, and actually I had a patient, and I passed this on to my client, what I said, and patient needed extensive work. And I just looked him dead in the face. He was 75 years old. And I said, we're going to do what keeps you the healthiest. And he looked at me like, no one has ever said that to me before, in the dental field. And it's like, well, darn it, that's what we're going to do. We're keeping you healthy. And if insurance isn't going to cover that, we will make it work, and he like, I felt he was getting teary-eyed, He had a mouthful of work, and never once had anyone looked at it like, you would, Samantha, from a place of wellness. So insurance, ties our hands so often because patients say, well, I can only do what my insurance allows. So that is the root cause of a lot of these problems that are happening. And so I just hope that enough of practices are on board with like, yeah, we're sick of it. We're going to go fee for service, and we're going to do it our way. And so in times I've told other clients, they say, well, patients will leave. I said, I know, but they'll be back. They'll be back. So until there's a major push for this insurance and they, reevaluate what they're covering and how they're covering it, then we're going to be stuck on this hamster wheel for a while. So, yeah.
I love that perspective so much. I think that it's a conditioned belief, right? We're like in this, like, I think you said hamster wheel, like it's just unnecessary. And really, I think if we pulled together and really talked about what's possible without, like, outside of insurance, and just, what we could do if we did kind of come together, it would be miraculous. It would be really incredible. So
I 100% agree in that leap. So my practice, I'm fee for service. The only insurance I take is Medicaid, which I'm a strong believer that if you're an independent hygienist, you should take Medicaid, because Medicaid offices, not all of them, but a good chunk, rarely one can afford a hygienist, because the reimbursement rates are so low, and the number are just providing substandard care. So I have a big majority of my patient population is Medicaid, and then the other is fee for service. And every time I had this one girl, she's like, even your goodie bags are different. Like the experience I felt was, and my big word, and what I tell all my clients, what I tell myself, is just be intentional with how I care for my patients. And patients feel that from the moment they walk in till when they leave with the goodie bag. It's all about being intentional with how we care, and with having insurance not hanging over me and, being my little puppeteer, I'm treating patients well. So
I love it's what we're all looking for. I know in my own personal healthcare journey, I want a doctor and, providers that treat me that way, that give me, like, the truth about what I need and what's going on with me. And so I think it's what we all want in our, like, in the space of our own healthcare. So I love that. It's just a mindset shift a little bit, I think, that for some reason we're really scared of at times. So I love that.
I agree. So yeah, it's us versus them, y'all.
A great discussion on insurance, and I think everyone could relate to this. So Sarah, in a crowded and competitive space, how can vendors and DSO leaders stand out without relying solely on traditional marketing?
I think it's really important to understand that people buy people, not products or services. And so when people come to me about traditional marketing, because that's primarily what I do, marketing, and I really hang out a lot in the DSO space, and they're like, we want to do all of these things. I'm like, sure. Do I want to make lots of money in marketing? Sure. But before we do any of that, please let us build your personal brand. And I don't think that people realize how much that really lends itself to a lot of things. Actually, your personal brand, if you were the owner founder, it it builds your company culture. I actually worked at a company and they hired me to build their culture. And I had said all of the things. I was like, I know culture comes from the top down. But when they presented that job to me, as I was like, yes, I want to build this culture. So I built a culture around unicorns because that's what I love. And at first, the team loved it. The C levels, they loved it. And then one day they were like, actually, we don't love it because that's not us. We don't like unicorns. We like different things like rocket emojis and all of these other things. And it was a really kind of big like moment for me when I knew I said culture came from the top down. And so I thought, I'm going to build my own company. We're going to be unicorns. We're going to love it. And so instead of starting or trying to throw all this money at traditional marketing, whether you're a vendor, whether you're a DSO, whether you're a general or any type of practice, I think it's really important to ask yourself. So something to take away from this, because a lot of people ask me, what is my personal brand? Or they think I don't have anything important to say, which crushes me every single day because everybody has something important to say. So ask the people around you, what is it that I'm really good at? Your personal brand already exists. It's you. You don't have to make it up or change it. And so once you start to show people what that is and tell your story, it makes such a huge difference. And it's free. So I do a lot of work on LinkedIn, and I tell people, lay in bed at night in your satin pajamas. If you don't have some, go get some with your water, champagne, coffee, whatever it is that you want to drink, and you just network or talk for free and whatever platform it is that you want to be on. Not that I almost feel like I'm telling everybody like post all about yourself on social media. I mean, it depends on what it is that you want to do. But if you're trying to grow your business, social media is a really great organic way. And since COVID, we're desperate for it. It has been so prevalent. I could post the winning lotto numbers, y'all. Nobody cares. But what they care about is they come up to me and they're like, that one Friday, Sarah, where you said you were tired of working so hard and you took a day off and you went kayaking and that stranger's dog jumped in your kayak and you had that picture of the dog licking your face. That inspired me because hustle culture right here, right? Mid 40s, that's like all that I know, right? Like you said, Samantha, like burnout is almost like a badge of honor. And I've had to really try to retrain my brain not to do that. But that's what people don't want to hear about your business. On LinkedIn, people will say under their name, CEO, founder. Who the hell cares? If I don't know what you do, I don't care what your title is. So it's important to remember to understand who you are, which again, I'm sitting here saying like, that's the easiest thing in the world. I know it's not. But before, I think people might forget that we as individuals, people buy people, not products or services. And it's really important to us to know who it is. We want to like, know, and trust who we work with. And so you don't have to spend, this is funny, a marketing agency is saying, you don't have to spend all this money on marketing. Understand yourself first and build your brand. And you'd be really surprised how quickly and effectively that can work. And thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Also, I tell everybody to be authentic. And my headshot, I'm sure people noticed in the beginning, I'm blonde. Clearly, I am not blonde, just had headshots done. So I'm not, do as I say, not as I do.
I love that. I love that so much. You look great. Wow. I love the hair color.
Thank you.
Great tips. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. So, Samantha, you've spoken about the importance of ease and flow in both business and leadership. How do you bring those to an industry that often feels chaotic and clinical?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite topics. But first, by the way, Sarah, I might pay attention if you post the winning lottery numbers. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I would too.
Okay. I'm going to love the
Call
coming
me
out
in.
dog post, but I might pay attention to that. So, yeah, I'll be looking for that one.
Okay.
No, so Lester, this is one of my favorite topics because people often think that ease and flow are luxuries, period. Like they think that ease and flow are some luxurious, like only certain people have access to that. They're like, Sam, that sounds nice, but we've got 6 hygiene patients in the waiting room. The scanner's glitching and someone just canceled a $12,000 case. What are you talking about? Right. But here's the truth. Ease isn't the absence of challenge. That's not what I'm saying. It's actually the presence of alignment. So when your systems are clear and your team is supported and your leadership is intentional, the chaos doesn't simply disappear. It just moves through more smoothly. And that's what I like to call engineered ease, right? It's available to all of us. It's a choice. It's a mindset. Sometimes that means we need to analyze the day like a garden bed. I'm a plant nerd too. What's overgrown? What's undernourished? And what needs more light? You know what? We pull the weeds and we make space. Then, yes, I might gently suggest stepping outside between patients, grounding with a warm cup of tea or something crazy like that, or at least taking a couple deep breaths to regulate your nervous system. I really feel like, to kind of be a plant lady for a second, nature has really taught us a lot that rhythm matters, right? Rhythm really matters. And as an avid gardener and culinary herbalist, I never ignore those rhythms, even in business. That's the vibe, that's the energy, right? So one client of mine that I'll tell you about owned a specialty group practice. And he was running full speed toward burnout when I met him, like full speed. He was rocking it. He had a very, very profitable, but very stressful business. He was very clear to me when we first started working together that he didn't want to lose momentum. He just wanted to lose the stress. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
It was a very tall order based on what was going on there. But together we looked at things and made a few very simple tweaks operationally. And then we've built a few simple practices within the practice, a 3-minute little breath reset between patients. We really worked hard on smoother handoffs through, in the operatory. We set some clear boundaries for the consults that took up a big part of his time. And within 3 months, his revenue went up. It was crazy. It was these tiny little baby things. And the most important part about all of that is his energy went up too. He felt better. So ease is not indulgent and flow isn't fluffy. It's not. People call it woo and all this other stuff. That's rude. It's not those things. It's efficient and strategic and absolutely necessary if we want to lead from a regulated nervous system instead of survival mode. Jasmine, you were talking about survival mode earlier. And there's things we need to do to actually shift gears and resist survival mode and demand regulated nervous systems and strong leadership through that. And when you create that kind of an environment, your whole team feels that shift and dentistry becomes less of a grind and more of a groove.
Yeah, absolutely. I think working in, we both have been around the dentistry block for a while, and man, sometimes you could feel it the moment you walk in that door. You're like, they have 0 systems in here, and it's like, all right, here we go. Like, let's get it done, and then other days you're like, wow, this is great, so it's such a difference.
For sure.
Everything you just said, and I 100% agree. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Samantha, and Jasmine also for adding your thoughts into this as well. Moving back to Jasmine, so again, I would say a very strong question here, and also maybe something you can share your experience, how you built it. So why did you start your practice?
It's so funny. I just told this story yesterday. 2 years ago, I have 2 sons. I'm a single mother, and I have 2 sons that are avid, they're little baseball stars. So it's very fun. And so 2 years ago, before I had started my practice, it had been kind of in the back of my mind, like, yeah, maybe it's time, maybe it's time. I had been telling my office, hey guys, my son has a tournament starting Friday. I need this Friday off. So it's been about a month. Okay, yeah. Week comes around. I'm like, hey, remember, you need to get coverage. I'm not going to be here on Friday. And they said, oh no, you can't take the day off. We didn't get coverage. And I'm like, yeah, right. I don't think so. Like mama bear full mode. And so that was the day I was like, I'm doing it. I'm starting my own practice. I am not going to be told again that I can't be present for my children, or I have to, oh, maybe you could work half a day and maybe you could miss this game and miss that. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. So really cool story. Fast forward, that same baseball tournament was last weekend. And I've been in practice independently since September. So last Friday was the game. My son had an 8 a.m. game. I went to his game. Then after that, I went to my office. I had a client coaching call. I had 3 patients. I produced close to $1,400 off of 3 patients. Then I went back to my baseball games for the rest of the evening. And like on the way back, like tears are rolling down my face. And I'm like, I did it. I did it, and that was just, it was I get goosebumps talking about it because the hard work is paying off, and I will never again have to ask for time off to go be with my children. So that was, if it, and it doesn't matter if you have children or not, or whatever it is, it's your time, and you're building this, you're creating the systems, you're creating the flow, the ease, the fluff. It's not fluff. It's not. I totally agree with you, Samantha. So that was a push. Yes.
I love that. Good for you. There's nothing more liberating than being in control of your, I've been doing this for 31 years, in dentistry for 31 years. And being an entrepreneur has been very challenging at times. It's not easy at all, but I will never look back. I will fight tooth and nail to stay in this space right here, because I do think that and not just the dental industry, but just work in general. There's these ideas of what it has to look like and the sacrifices that we make to have that job or whatever, it can really overcome some of the things that create balance in our lives and our ability to raise our small humans and be present in the things that matter the most. And, it goes back to everything that I talk about too, is like, we can actually really very much have both. Like we really don't have to adopt this idea that, you can't step away to be present to support your child. That's making a better human for the future. Mm-hmm. And when you come back to the workplace after having that time with your child, you're going to be a more committed, better employee, because you have been able to create that balance and be where you need to be on both ends of it. So good for you for just saying, no, this is what I'm doing. I applaud you for that.
Well, it goes back to your psychological safety, right? Like if I know that I'm supported by an office, that's like, oh yeah, hey, we know that this comes around every June. So, and I understand that it's a business. I've always been business before I even started my practice. Like I understand that we need to get coverage. It's so hard to move 9 people a day. I understand that, but when you have that small support, and even I, was even like, hey, let me know what to do. I will move these people, like a collaborative effort.
Yeah, let's do it together.
Right. And so just in that moment, it was just like a swift no. And I'm like, okay, then, So, yeah.
Yeah. Good for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jasmine, for sharing that experience. And also Samantha. So Sarah, how do you recommend leaders break through industry barriers, especially if they feel like they don't fit the mold of what leadership has traditionally looked like in dentistry?
Well, first, I just want to say, Jasmine, that's amazing. And I'm so happy for you, because I get it too. I mean, we all have a story, right? As to why it is that we got here. I never thought in a million years, like me, Sarah Ruberg, an entrepreneur, right? I'm an intrapreneur. I can help build, but I can't do for myself. And actually, I have to credit the dental industry, because watching clinicians make that decision to go from clinical to CEO was so inspiring without having, very much business experience or education at all. Was really, and seeing women like yourselves to make that leap. And so I feel really great about it. And I've been doing this for 3 years, and Samantha, girl, I will never go back. Like nobody, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do ever again. And when I want to put all of my effort and everything and passion into something, it's going to be appreciated because it's mine. So that's chef's kiss for sure. You're welcome. You're welcome. But I will say, like, for a practice, could you imagine if they did come to you and they said, Jasmine, we know that you've got this really important baseball tournament coming up, because we remember from last year, what is it that we need to do to help you to make that? Like, I know my COO always gives me a tough time, because I'm like, why don't people do this? Why aren't people more like me? Why are they not like me? Yes. And he's like, it's knowledge bias, Sarah. Like, of course, like, you build relationships. That's what you're passionate about. Of course, that's something that you would do. So that's also something that maybe I'm struggling with, is to remember not everybody is like me. And kind of, thank goodness, this world could not handle like a whole heck of a lot more of me. But which, interestingly, back to the question about not fitting the mold. So my dad was a like big CEO of this like multi-billion-dollar company, super serious. I love him so much, miss him every single day. And I got my work ethic from him. And one day I came to him and I said, Dad, I have this new position at my company. We were going to call me business development, but barf, who wants that title? And everybody knows what that means. That means sales. I was like, so we came up with a new title. We came up with the title Sparkles Support, because my name in the industry, one of my previous bosses called me Sarah Sparkles. And so my title on my email was Sarah, Sparkles Support. And my dad was like, I don't think you should, no, you should not put that on your resume. I was like, I get it. I know, Dad, you're like Mr. Corporate, but people loved it. I could get anybody to answer me back in an email. They're like, I don't even know what you do. I don't know what your company is, but I want to know what the heck Sparkle Support means. And so I spend most of my time, I think one of my highest performing posts on LinkedIn is a picture of me in a unicorn onesie talking about being authentic, your authentic self. So it's when you don't think that you fit the mold. And actually I have an example of one of my friends who's a COO at a DSO. And she came to me one day and she said, I've been told not to lead with love or sparkles or things like that. And that is who she is as a person. And it just blows my mind that there are still people out there that are like, you're not going to make it. You can't do this if you're this or that. And it's like hell you can't. We're all human beings, and people love this individual, and she's wonderful. And she's decided to be herself and lead with love and actually she wants to wear sequins to work. If anyone wants to wear sequins to work, damn it, wear the sequins.
Yes. Wear the sequins.
Please wear the sequins. Have a good time. I think we only live once. I don't know, but like while we're here, it's best to just be yourself. And I know I'm saying that, and I say it to everybody all the time. I'm like, it's so easy. And I know that it's not. I know, but if you can get past the fact that that's your unique selling proposition, whether you're a coach, you're a practice, you have to identify what it is that sets you apart. And it's you as a person, as a human being. And I think that most people, when they do approach me about building their brand, again, they say to me, I don't want to promote myself. I think that's really cringe. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, cool, don't. There's so many other things you can do. You can say a lot about yourself without saying anything about yourself. And I know it's this could be a part two, because again, this is a long process to help people so there's self-awareness, but more importantly, there's self-acceptance. And in order to, please just remember, you all have something important to say.
Oh, I love that so much. It's so true. And I think like what you're saying, sorry, Lester, that was so juicy. And I love what you said, Sarah. Like it's so true. I think that being yourself is actually easier, but it's scary. Like, I think it's so scary for people to be, you feel so exposed when you're just authentically, and I have personally dealt with that too. I've spoken on stages, and never that is definitely not something that was on a bucket list for me. And the work to actually have the courage to do something like that and show up with my authentic self was easy, hard, and scary as heck. I'll keep it clean here. It was scary as heck. It really was. But there's just nothing more. But when that trigger goes on, when that light switch goes on and you're able to just be brave, everything changes. And that's when you capture, people want that. People want authentic. They want it. That's what people want. That's how we connect. It's everything. That was a good share, Sarah.
Thank you. And just to a teeny tiny bit more, I promise I won't take up too much more time. But one of the things that you do when you are authentic, you really kind of look, I am not a corporate and buttoned up. And Samantha, I adore you. You keep it clean. Girl, my mom told me if whatever you do, you're not successful at, you could always be a truck driver or a sailor. So I have got I could not keep it clean for all of us, but
okay, Sarah, let's be besties. I think we're going to be besties.
I love it. I love it. But when you do that, I'm not corporate and buttoned up. So when I'm on LinkedIn and I'm like, I love unicorns, I love sparkles, who's not going to approach me to probably work with them are corporate buttoned up, stuffy people. And you know what? Good, because I don't want to work with them either, or it probably wouldn't be a good combination. And so you end up, when you are your true authentic self, you kind of skip that part where you have to, and I mean, don't get me wrong, in business, you do have that phase at the beginning where you say yes to everybody because you're like,
100%.
Because then if I don't, I'm not going to win, or I'm not going to succeed. But then you start to realize who are good, what's my avatar, who are good people for me to work with. But you tend to, and even employees too, if you don't have that alignment, then, or if they look at you and are like, wow, they do TikToks all the time. I don't want that. Okay, good. Well, then you're probably not going to work out there. So that's also a really great point. And I see Caitlin said that so many people called her an entrepreneur, and it was a limiting title. And I think, and Caitlin is an amazing individual, by the way. And so it's just interesting to think that we can do so much more than that. So
yeah, I love that. For sure.
Really quick to piggyback off what you said, Sarah, about how you're not buttoned up, and just going back to being an independent hygienist and a collaborative hygienist that doesn't take insurance, and patients come in. This last week, there must be a full moon or Mercury's in the microwave or whatever we want to say, because people have been on one this week, And
it's definitely a full moon, Jasmine.
I'm like, something's happening. And
definitely a full moon.
Yes. I'm looking out the window. I'm like, where is the moon? Something's happening. But I literally just told the patient, then this is not the practice for you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. But it's just, and it was so empowering just to create that boundary and to not let people walk all over you to have you fit their mold. And it was basically, he didn't want x-rays. And I'm like, I'm not going to put my license on the line because you think that x-rays are extremely harmful. No. So you find the people that are for you when you are your authentic self. So
1,000%. Yes.
yep.
Yep.
So this
Thank you,
day
Jasmine.
shift. I'm like, that's enough.
Great discussion here. So Samantha, what's your secret sauce for building high-performing teams that actually like working together?
um, the real secret
Mm-hmm.
is, yes, it's structure and soul. Structure and soul. I think it's the marriage of clear expectations with deep human connection. Teams don't thrive in chaos. They thrive in clarity and structure, for sure, 100%. Operational infrastructure is my jam. But teams need to know what success looks like too, right? It goes beyond just the structure component. So how we give feedback and receive feedback without fear, right? That psychological safety, and that it's not only okay to laugh at work; it's necessary. We can have a good time. Culture isn't created in monthly meetings or team lunches. It's built in the in-between moments, like I shared before. It's the huddles, the hallway chats, the way we recover after a hard day. It's those things. I once worked with a team that they had all the ingredients on paper, right? They had experience, talent, strong numbers. But again, you could feel that strong tension in the air. And we did a retreat together. I host business wellness retreats here at my home. And during the retreat, I guided them through an exercise that I call Roll Without a Title. And in this exercise, each person had to describe what they really bring to the team beyond their job description. So one of the hygienists stood up and she said, I'm the one who remembers when someone's dog is sick or when their kid has a spelling bee. She said, I don't do it for credit. I just want people to feel cared for. There was like this very genuine component about her. And it was kind of silent for a second. We were kind of waiting for the next brave person to stand up and share. And then someone stood up and said, I never told you this, but that's the reason that I didn't quit last year.
Ugh.
You remembered something I shared with you and it meant the world to me. So like that, it was like one of those things where, again, like I'm channeling you, Sarah, because I'm like, why didn't you tell her that like a year ago? Those are the things that like build these strong, high performing teams in my experience. And that moment with the two of them really cracked something open, not only for myself, but for that entire group. Suddenly, everybody was starting to see each other, not as coworkers, but just as human beings with gifts that don't just show up on a production report, right? And we all have those gifts. We all have them. And we often don't see the value of those gifts in the workplace, or we're too busy and distracted to take the time to even acknowledge them, which is completely unfortunate to me. So high performing teams don't just work well together, they feel well together. And when you have both the structure that sets people up to win and then the soul that reminds them that they matter, that is when the magic happens. That's when the byproduct of that is all the stuff we can pull out on a report, right? I believe that joy isn't the opposite of productivity. It is not. It's a catalyst for it. Laughter is a strategy. Caring for each other is a strategy. Trust is fuel in a practice. And the best teams, they know how to do both, all of those things. They know how to deliver excellence and be deeply, wonderfully human while doing it.
Thank you, Samantha. I love how you shared that. Some great, that perspective is really insightful.
Thank you.
So Jasmine, what are the biggest challenges you faced as a hygienist and a business owner?
Well, I did not purchase my practice. I am starting it from the ground up. So patients have all come. I have a large family where I'm from. It's not small town, but thankfully family helps. But every patient outside of my family has all been organic and has come from Instagram. And what I love, going back to Sarah, well, both of you ladies, is people say you're just so authentic on your post and you're just so real. And I feel very comfortable going to you. So that the challenging part is just growing my practice literally from the ground up, and then kind of educating people on, no, you can go get your teeth cleaned and not have to go to a traditional dentist, and the ins and outs of how collaborative practice works. And so just educating and growing, and just all while being a mom and trying to make it to baseball on time and remembering jerseys and cleats and gear and everything else in between. But it's the most stressful and rewarding thing that I will ever do. So.
And brave, very brave.
Yeah, it's brave, but it'll all be worth it. There are days where I'm like, that's it. I'm throwing in the towel. I'm going back to my regular office, and I don't care if they tell me. No, I'm just kidding. I do totally care if they tell me I can't do something, but that's how hard. And then every single time I'm like hitting a brick wall, something really cool pops up, and a collaboration or a new connection is made, and I'm like, oh, okay, everything's okay. Or I get a call and, hi, I'd like to schedule for a cleaning. And I'm like, okay, of course. So it always has been, it's always on the right trajectory. So.
Thank you, Jasmine. So, Sarah, how can leaders use platforms like LinkedIn to shape culture, elevate their teams, and drive innovation, even if they don't consider themselves as marketers?
Well, even like Jasmine just mentioned, educating people around her that don't necessarily know, and being her authentic self. When you are your authentic self, and when you understand why you're doing what you're doing, and you're so passionate about it, you're not selling anymore. You're educating. And so again, people will say to me, I don't know what platform to use, or, well, again, most of the people that I talk to want to use LinkedIn. And right now there's a trend on LinkedIn where everyone's like, I just got engaged this weekend, and this is what it teaches me about business, because not very many people understand how to really utilize it. And so there's many different things you can do. Post books that you like or quotes that you like. One thing that really performs well, at least that I know of in the DSO space, and I would suspect anywhere, is posting about other people, posting about somebody that really inspires you in the industry. We love that. Those types of posts perform really well. LinkedIn, I would imagine the same on Instagram. Different types of content perform differently on different platforms. Instagram is very video heavy. LinkedIn is different. But even if you don't consider yourself a marketer, which I don't even consider myself, I'm a storyteller, not really a marketer. But when you talk about the things, when people, initially the thing I say is just talk about something that's important to you. And at the end of your post, ask yourself, what is it that I want people to walk away with? There has to be some form of value that they're going to walk away from it. And if you can't think of it, girl, don't post it. Think of something else to post, because you need to be able to provide some type of guidance to your audience, because that's why you're sharing this about your life. People want to be relatable, or know that we really want to know that we're not alone. We all think that we're going through something that no one else has gone through before. I broke up with a boy in high school, and I was like, Mom, you do not understand what I'm going through, because you've never gone through. We've all gone through breakups. We all go through the same dang thing, the same cycles, all that kind of stuff. It's all the same. I'm also a 4 on the Enneagram. So I believe that I'm the most unique human being in the world, and that nobody understands me. So there's that layer and level, right? But we want to know that we're not alone, and we want to be able to understand more about ourselves, but having like relatable content. So you don't have to be a marketer. You don't have to be professional. You don't have to be polished. You just have to be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Preach.
Thank you.
Love it.
Exactly. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
I just noticed the time, and we are like, time is just flying.
I know. It's great.
So, okay, let me share my screen. So, thank you all so much for joining us tonight, our expert panelists and everyone in the audience. You've been amazing, and your energy and participation made tonight's conversation truly special. Earlier, I teased a special gift, and I'm excited to share the details now. This comes from Naren Raja, the founder of the Insurance Untangled podcast and community, and the CEO of Eco Marketing, a company dedicated to help dental practice owners grow through smart, strategic digital marketing. As a thank you for attending this session, Naren is offering each of you a free marketing strategy session with Lila Stone, our trusted dental marketing consultant here at Insurance Untangled. Lila is an industry expert who knows exactly how to help you attract more patients, build your reputation, and achieve sustainable growth. Here's what makes this session truly valuable. Lila will spend over 5 hours doing a deep dive on your digital marketing footprint, analyzing everything from your online visibility to how effectively your marketing converts clicks into actual patient visits. She'll assess whether your marketing is working for you even after hours when nearly half of online traffic occurs. You'll find a QR code on the screen and a clickable link in the chat to book your session with Lila. There's no catch, no cost, just your time, and we know that's valuable. So when I get these questions, basically, I ask myself a question when I get an opportunity like this: what do you risk by taking advantage of this offer? I would say it's just your time. So, but what do you risk by not taking action? That's something only you can answer. But tonight's insights and experiences um, can help you understand basically what you should be doing when it comes to things like this. So I can't recommend this enough. It's truly time well spent. I also want to thank all of our attendees for the privilege of your time and your thoughtful participation. Without you, we couldn't grow together and help shape a brighter future for our industry. Please remember to like, share, and review us on your favorite social media platforms. Spread the word and help others benefit from these conversations. On behalf of our entire expert panel, keep striving for excellence and making a positive impact on your team, your patients, and your community. Thank you, everyone. And until next time, good night.